So Trump went to speak to the National Association of Black Journalists. This is probably the absolute worst interview Trump has ever given. Ever. It's outrageous the way he responded to this question. So I forgot the reporter's name, but she's gonna ask right off the bat. The first person asks him about, his rhetoric and stuff he has said about, the black community and blah blah blah, and basically saying, why should we vote for you? Why should we trust you when you've been like this? So watch what he says, and it's mind-blowingly bad.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
I can't even. I love that for him. He is so bad at offense. I'm sorry. He's so good. He's so bad at defense. He's so much better at offense, not defense. He does not like to defend things. He does not like to defend his words. He does not like his words coming back to bite him in any way, shape, or form. But it's happening. Like, this election cycle is so much different. When Trump ran in 2016, he was a novelty. He was kind of new. People on the right were really excited about this new guy. The guy is not an establishment guy. And I think by the time we got back to 2020 or to 2020, we really understood that he really is, I never voted for him because God no. But I mean, if you're watching this and you voted for him the first time and didn't like the second time, or even if you did the second time, are you going to vote for him a third time? Because why? I don't get it. He has nothing to give to the American people. He wants to control women, and he denigrates journalism any chance he gets. That's a bad side. I just love how he's cratering, and he's the old guy in the race now. You know, he's at various points in this interview, he's like, I can't hear you, you have terrible equipment. No, you're just old. He's 78 years old. I mean, I'm sorry, that's getting up there in years. Are you too old to do anything? Of course not. But should you be running the country at 78 years old? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't even be vying for it at this point, right? So we got a younger, his running mate's younger than him, like quite a bit. Like I think JD Vance, is he in his early 40s or is he in his late 30s? And his opponent, Kamala Harris, is only 59 years old. Although he said she's 60, she's 59. She won't be 60 until October. I guess I understand why they brought him on. And that seems to be pretty contentious by itself. That the fact they were going to bring Trump into this and speak to him for an hour on this panel in front of an audience. I actually think it's a good thing that he did this. It shows how disrespectful he is towards the Black community. You know, he says, I love the Black community. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like, let's remind people, back in the 80s, I think it was the late 80s, his dad and him had to go to court because they were not renting they had an apartment building. They were not renting apartments to Black people. Just because they were just throwing those applications away if a Black person brought it in. That's called discrimination, and that's not okay. So the fact that, you know, he's not changed. He's not come out and said, I've changed, I'm a different... No, he's not. No, he's not. He is the exact same racist guy that he was in the 80s. His dad raised him to be racist. He continued to be racist. You know, and he was in the Democratic Party up until he ran for the presidency in 2015, I think is when he announced he was running. Maybe it was in 2016. I can't remember. That feels like 1,000 years ago. But he wasn't always a Republican. And I love how people are like shitting on JD Vance for being a Republican, where I think he used to be a Democrat. So did Trump. Like, Trump is just grifting. The one thing Trump is so good at is he's a good con man. He really is. But he's good at getting people to pay him for bullshit. And like he's doing through Truth Social right now. It's just really interesting. He just keeps grifting and people keep buying into this grift. Like, seriously, people, he's scamming you. Don't buy into the scam. Like, he needs it for his absorbent legal bills. You know, it's mind-blowing. Anyway, it's so epically bad. Subscribe.